And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Saturday, November 8th, 2025. And there's a lot to talk about. We have two notable systems, one affecting the southeast, especially Panhandle, and another one, a Bering Sea front that's going to impact areas of the southwest coast. So high winds, heavy rain, flooding potential, even an isolated landslide possible for the southern Panhandle as this area of low pressure and strong front will be lifting north-northwestward tonight into Sunday. In the northern Panhandle, winter storm warnings for heavy snow, especially at Chilkoot White Passes above Haines at Haines Custom. As much as a foot to foot and a half of snow could fall around White Pass. And then along the west coast, southwest coast there, Kuskokwim Delta, there is a coastal flood advisory. Some higher water levels will be possible tonight into Sunday morning as that front approaches, plus some accumulating snow as well. And then areas of the west coast around Norton, Kotzebue Sounds, and up along the Chukchi Sea coast, heavy freezing spray will be possible there. But looking at some of the FAA webcams on this Saturday afternoon, Kipnuk, increasing clouds 20 degrees. This is the area that has the coastal flood advisory, and you're going to be seeing winds pick up tonight, along with a burst of some snow ahead of this front that could dump 3-4 inches of snow. And Kipnuk would be one of the locations that could have the higher water levels 2 to 3 feet above the normal highest tides. Anchorage area mostly cloudy, 28. You can see the snow on the ground. Anchorage area picked up easily 8 to 12 inches of snow with the system that came through Thursday into Thursday night, but at least this afternoon, some low cloudiness trying to break up. Now Skagway, thickening clouds, 43 degrees. Skagway itself may only see 4, 5, 6 inches of snow, but as you go up the highway there toward the Canadian border, over a foot of snow is likely there as we go through later tonight and during the day Sunday. Heidelberg in the south, you're going to see increasing winds and rain, 43 degrees. Some of the higher terrain there in the southern Panhandle could pick up as much as 6 to 8 inches of rainfall. So here's the way things look. We have high wind warning for the southern Panhandle, flood watch for the southern Panhandle up through Wrangell and Petersburg, and then further north as that moisture comes north later tonight and for Sunday, heavy snow above Haines and Skagway. And then to the west, we have a coastal flood advisory as well as a winter weather advisory for the area here along Kuskokwim Bay. And along the lower Yukon coast, there's a special weather statement for some higher water levels expected. But the better chance here being, especially on the west side of Kuskokwim Bay, Kwagillingok toward Kipnuk would have a better chance of the higher water levels. So starting out, high wind warnings. And this is for this Saturday evening through Sunday morning. Winds, southeast winds could gust as high as 60, 70 miles an hour, especially in some of the higher terrain here of the southern Panhandle. And this includes Metlakatla as well as Ketchikan and all of Prince of Wales Island. So you want to secure your things that could blow around out there. Also could be down trees. And again, the potential for landslides, because when you get those strong winds combined with heavy rainfall, soil saturated, loosens, that can cause a slide to happen. And we are having the flood watch here. Some of the rainfall amounts could be quite heavy in the steeper terrain. As much as 6 to 8 inches of rain could fall. So again, this flood watch extends through Petersburg, Wrangell, and then all of the southern Panhandle. And in the north, Skagway, especially above Skagway, along the Klondike Highway there, 14 to 18 inches of snow expected up there toward White Pass. And that would be late midnight this Saturday night through Sunday afternoon. And Haines area, above Haines especially, toward the Haines Custom. As much as 7 to 10 inches of snow may fall there, with 5 to 7 inches of snow at sea level around Haines, and that would be coming late tonight through about mid-afternoon Sunday. And then out to the west, we have a coastal flood advisory for Kuskokwim Bay. There's going to be strong southeast winds that could gust as high as 40 to 50 miles an hour. The good news is in time, the winds are going to turn more easterly, but the area that is most exposed to that kind of southeast wind would be the areas over toward Kipnuk. And again, we're looking at water levels that could be 2 to 3 feet above the normal highest tide line. High tide coming in around 3 a.m. Sunday morning. So that's when we expect the highest water levels there. And then there's going to be snow, accumulating snow pulling in Nunavik Island into this area around Kuskokwim Bay. Maybe as much as 4 inches of snow with gusts, as I said, 40, 50 miles an hour coming in as that front just kind of pulls up here and then stalls out. It will gradually weaken later in the day, Sunday and into Monday, and winds are going to have a tendency to want to turn more to the east because of a secondary low that's going to be developing just south of the Alaska Peninsula later Sunday in the afternoon and into the evening hours. Satellite imagery shows the moisture streaming northward. This is a moist system coming up from the North Pacific into the Panhandle. And again, strong winds with it that'll be lifting northward. And as the rain encounters the colder air in the northern part of the Panhandle, it'll be some heavier accumulating snow. Meanwhile, out to the west, we have this low in the western Bering with the front arcing ahead of it. And it's this front as it comes toward the southwest coast that we'll see those stronger winds causing the water levels to be elevated at high tide, and also some snow that'll move in along that area. So late tonight into early Sunday morning, we have the one low staying just off of the Panhandle coast. Warm front coming north. You're going to see temperatures rising along the southern Panhandle. Highs tomorrow, mid-upper 50s. Maybe can't even rule out a 60-degree reading, but at least 50s. Further north, heavy wet snow falling there, especially toward, as I said, Haines, Custom, and up there on Chilkoot White Passes. And then here the low out in the western Bering, down around 950 millibars with this front extending eastward, so there's going to be stronger southeast winds ahead of that. Sunday afternoon, the low along the eastern Gulf pulls up outside of Cross Sound, and this front occludes and pulls in. So some of the heaviest rain is going to fall later tonight through Sunday morning. Winds should also be coming down by later Sunday morning and for the afternoon. Meanwhile, to the west, we have this main low, weak low developing along this occluded front with the secondary low here, just southeast of the Alaska Peninsula. That's what's going to cause the winds to turn a bit more easterly and not be quite as strong there along the Kuskokwim Bay as we head through later Sunday. And then on Monday, that secondary low gets some energy, pulls up into the southwest Gulf with another occluded front pulling up toward the Panhandle, keeping active weather along the Gulf Coast into the Panhandle. The lows out toward the Bering weaken a bit, so not anything especially strong. Into Tuesday, though, we do still find the low in the Gulf weakening. And then out here, another low with a front that'll continue advancing itself eastward. So the weather pattern is going to stay active from west-southwest to east-southeast, mainly across the Bering, Aleutians, lower Alaska Peninsula, and up into the Gulf, at times impacting areas along the Gulf Coast and Panhandle. So low temperatures. It's going to be cold. Interior single digits, some either above or below zero, fairly common. It's definitely feeling like winter now. And even teens down here into Anchorage with the snow cover. We find temperatures rising in the southern Panhandle through the 40s as we go through tonight. And then during the day on Sunday, you can see temperatures hit the 50s in the southern Panhandle. Further north, there's going to be that snow there as you go up the Klondike and Haines highways. And then in the far north, temperatures only in the teens, some single digits for highs along the Brooks Range, 40-ish for Kodiak and extending down along the Aleutians. We expect highs lower mid-40s there. Below freezing up there at Savunga at St. Lawrence, and then lows Monday morning. Colder still, again, either above or below zero in the single digits across much of the interior from the Copper River Basin, Glen Allen, northward through the Alaska Range and all along the Brooks Range. Temperatures could still be around 40 for lows, Sitka down through Craig and Ketchikan, and then we find temperatures above freezing as you get out toward the central Alaska Peninsula into the Aleutians, especially from around Chiknik southwestward to Dutch Harbor. And then temperatures Monday afternoon, we could still see some 40s here, maybe a near 50 there at Klawock or Craig. And then out to the west along the Gulf, some temperatures still at or above 40, Middleton Island 44, 42 at Kodiak City and lower mid-40s. Out along the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutians, temperatures may moderate a little bit as that front weakens and we just have a little milder air pulled in along the Kuskokwim and Bristol Bay areas with highs at or just above freezing. Still chilly though up there along the Brooks Range, a number of readings only in the single digits and generally in the teens along the Arctic and upper Chukchi coast. So the extended outlook, November 14th through the 18th, around and past mid-month. Below normal temperatures here in the Panhandle. And we find maybe temperatures a little above normal up here in the northeast mainland, Arctic Village toward Kaktovik. And then an area out here along Kuskokwim, Bristol Bay, but especially the lower Alaska Peninsula and on into the Aleutians, temperatures are likely to average above normal because the storm track is going to pull some warmer air at times up across this area of the state as it comes northeastern. There's going to be some colder air try to spill back in. So we'll have to see how that shakes out because there's going to be a couple of systems that certainly will have some wetter conditions, including snow. So November 14th through the 18th, the precipitation outlook places the greatest likelihood of additional rain and snow will be over areas of the southern and southwest mainland, including the Alaska Peninsula into the Aleutians. So overall, an active weather pattern will continue here as we head around and just past mid-November.